There are moments in life when trust feels like the hardest thing to hold on to. When the future is unclear, fear speaks louder than hope, and the path ahead feels too heavy. The story of Moses is not just about miracles and power. It is a story of hesitation, doubt, and learning to trust step by step. Moses was born during a time of fear and oppression. The Israelites lived as slaves in Egypt, their lives controlled by a powerful empire. Pharaoh ordered that every Hebrew baby boy be killed. But Moses' mother refused to give in to fear and chose to protect her child. Unable to hide her son any longer, Moses' mother placed him in a basket and set it upon the river. It was not a plan built on certainty. It was an act of trust. Trust that somehow, in a dangerous world, this child would survive. The river carried Moses into the heart of Egypt. He was found by Pharaoh's daughter and raised in the royal palace. Surrounded by power and privilege, Moses lived as a prince. Yet deep inside, he carried two identities that would later pull him apart. Moses was raised as an Egyptian, but born as a Hebrew. As he grew older, he became aware of the suffering of his people. The tension between who he was and where he came from never left him. One day, Moses witnessed an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave. Anger overtook him. In a moment of uncontrolled emotion, Moses killed the Egyptian. What he believed was justice quickly became fear. When Pharaoh learned what Moses had done, the palace was no longer safe. The prince became a fugitive. Moses fled into the wilderness, leaving behind power, identity, and certainty. The desert stripped everything away. No titles, no applause, no direction. For 40 years, Moses lived as a shepherd, leading sheep, living quietly, and learning patience far from the spotlight. The man who once lived in a palace now lived in obscurity. Yet it was in the silence of the desert that trust began to grow. Sometimes purpose is formed when life becomes quiet. One ordinary day, Moses saw a bush burning but not consumed. In that moment, his life changed forever. He was called to return to Egypt and lead his people out of slavery. But Moses did not feel ready. Moses questioned himself. He doubted his ability to speak and feared failure. "Who am I to do this?" he asked. Trust did not come easily. Moses tried to refuse the calling, listing his weaknesses and past mistakes. But the calling remained. He learned that trust does not mean confidence in yourself, but confidence in the one who sends you. Moses stepped forward not because he felt strong, but because he chose obedience. With that choice, the journey truly began. Leading the Israelites out of Egypt did not end the struggle. At the sea, they were trapped water before them and Pharaoh's army behind. Fear spread quickly, and trust was tested. In the face of impossible odds, the path forward opened. Trust was no longer just an idea. It became action step by step. The journey through the wilderness was long and difficult. There was hunger, thirst, and doubt. The people complained and longed for the past, because the unknown felt frightening. Moses also struggled. Leadership was heavy, and responsibility overwhelming. Yet trust was built not only through miracles, but through daily provision and perseverance. Moses was never perfect. He made mistakes, lost patience, and struggled with anger. But he continued to walk forward. Trust was learned slowly through obedience and humility. The story of Moses reminds us that trust does not require perfection. It requires willingness. You do not need all the answers before taking the next step. Sometimes trust simply means moving forward, even when your hands are shaking. That choice alone can change everything. Moses never saw the full promise completed in his lifetime, but his journey was not wasted. Trust is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to walk forward anyway.